Hey everyone, ciao. So today, ciao da Torino. Hello from Turin, Italy. Today I want to talk about tipping. Just a very quick video on tipping. And a couple of reasons I decided to um, do this video or film this video is I was just in Florence. I left Florence. I went to check out of the hotel and I just had to pay the city tax. I prepaid my hotel. And they flipped the screen around and asked for a tip on the city tax for the hotel. And if I hadn't prepaid for all my hotel, they would have asked me to tip on top of the amount, the hundreds of dollars I was already paying for the hotel, which is ridiculous. And then I was in Philly and I was at the airport lounge and I sat next to a couple and the guy asked me about just how tipping works in Italy because when he was in Italy several years ago, he tipped 10% and the waiter asked if he was upset because he only tipped 10%. So, long and short of it is tipping is not very common in Italy, certainly at the levels that we tip in the United States. So, at most, maybe you'll tip a euro or two here, or you'll round up to the closest $5 or $10 or €10 if you're at a nicer restaurant. But for the most part, in most restaurants that I go to here, they they'll be like, okay, like just go up to the register to pay. So that's another thing to know is like many cases you won't wait for the waiter to bring you the bill, or if you do ask for the bill, il conto, they'll just tell you to pay at the register, alla cassa, CASSA. Um, and then they'll just tell you the total, and you'll give them your card, and that is it. Like there's no expectation that you're going to tip here in Italy, and it's because the prices include enough to pay their workers, and in many cases they'll charge you a coperto, which means cover. So they'll charge you a cover charge, which is I've seen it anywhere from like a euro 50 up to €3. And I'm imagining it could be more at really nice restaurants, but I don't typically go to super nice restaurants in Italy. But anyways, so yeah, and if you see them asking for a tip, it's usually in a touristy restaurant and it'll always be in English. I've never seen it in Italian because Italians would be like, cosa stai facendo? Like, what are you doing? Like, no. So just keep that in mind. Like, it's fine if you have great service, maybe leave an extra euro or two. And of course, there's no harm in leaving more. But the issue is that it makes things potentially more difficult for the locals, right? So if uh, people see that Americans or foreigners are willing to pay an extra 15 or 20%, and quite honestly, who's not going to turn down free money, right? Then they're going to provide better service to Americans and at the potential detriment of Italians. But again, most Italians probably aren't going to the restaurants where they're gonna put on the receipt or on the bill in English like tips not included. And I've seen that in Rome. I've seen that in Venice, in Florence, and it's mostly the big tourist cities and touristy areas in those cities. Hey everyone, just a quick note before I end the video. When I talk about tipping, I'm talking about tipping in restaurants and, like I said, in Florence when I went to check out of my hotel. Like, I'm not tipping you 10% on my hotel stay. Like, that's ridiculous. But certainly, like if you're going on a tour or doing something like that where you have like a tour guide, like it's customary and probably accepted or expected to tip then. But certainly in restaurants, just follow what Italians do, right? When in Rome, do as Romans do. And they generally don't tip 10, 15, 20%. It would be very unusual for them to tip that amount, and it'd be very unusual for them to be asked by a waiter or like when they went to pay the bill or the check to be asked to pay a tip. Yeah. So, anyways, just follow the customs of Italy, and you'll be good. And most times when you go to pay your bill, if you're at like a authentic non-touristy restaurant, when you go to pay your bill, they'll just take your credit card or you'll use Apple Pay, and that'll be it. Like there won't even be a place for you to sign for a tip. So, anyways, enjoy your time in Italy. Until next time, ciao.